I am so honored and excited to be able to go through the process of Pinterest for beginners today. I have a wonderful guest who is coming in not knowing anything about getting started on Pinterest, and I'm throwing her into the flames, and we are going to literally walk through some of the biggest questions that she has to get started and that you guys probably have too, but just don't know how to voice them.
Welcome to the Pintastic Podcast, a podcast about growing profitability the right way with sustainable systems so you can be found first without tantrums over tech and trading sleep for success. Prepare yourself for mind-blowing discussions and actionable tips focused on Pinterest strategies, funnel marketing, and everything in between with your host, Laura Reich. So let's make Pinterest profitable for you.
So, Stacy, thank you so much for this topic idea, for offering yourself as tribute to this recording today. I'm so stinking excited.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. One of the things that I am trying to embrace as a female entrepreneur is vulnerability and putting myself out there and realizing that there are no dumb questions. Everybody starts somewhere. Yep. And so I'm thrilled to have you with me today and walking me through all the good stuff on Pinterest.
It's going to be amazing. And I think it's going to be super, super helpful for others that are in your area that are just like, I want to throw myself in, but I don't even know how, right? Like we're excited. So it'll be great. So Stacy is a certified director of operations and vetted ClickUp consultant who calls,
give it a go, Mexico. And I'll tell you.
Yeah, Mexico home. Oh,
Oaxaca, Mexico.
Oaxaca. Ooh.
Yes, Oaxaca, Mexico, South Central Mexico.
Right. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, I was just reading this and it's literally Oaxaca. So Oaxaca was not on my brain.
Well, and if it wasn't, that's okay. Because in full honesty, I didn't even know Oaxaca was a place until I came to visit my friend who lives here. And my idea was to come for 3 months, and 7 years later, here I am. So if you or your listeners have never heard of Oaxaca, do not worry.
Come visit.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So she is in Oaxaca, Mexico. She helps feminist visionaries smash the patriarchy one deadline at a time via strategic planning, business management, and team leadership. So CEOs can focus their time and effort scaling their businesses and creating more positive social impact in their communities. When Stacy's not online, you'll find her hiking in the mountains with her rescue dogs, working in her garden, or Netflixing and chilling with her cats. Since the start of the pandemic, Stacy has refused to put on pants unless absolutely necessary and has made caftans.
Colorful caftans.
As her new best friend. I love it so much. I don't read the intros just so that I don't trip up myself in trying to like memorize everything. I have 2 dogs here. I love gardening. Netflix is my 14-year-old's pastime. Like we are one and the same here, girlfriend. I'm so loving this intro. This is amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So the way we're going to walk through this, I was telling her before we started, you guys, is I'm going to treat her like she's an onboarding client, because I think that's going to be the easiest way to kind of paint the picture for the listeners, what your business does, where you're trying to go, how we can utilize Pinterest, and then how to start those first steps down the road. So literally, if you are starting with me, one of the questions that we ask is what are your biggest priorities for the rest of this year that you want to see in your business for visibility?
Oh, I was going to say my biggest priority is visibility. If I look
Yeah.
at my own strategic plan, it is visibility. I am trying to get myself out there and get noticed and present myself as an authority in the field. I'm a true operator and I like to be behind the scenes and I'm damn good at it. Ooh, can I cuss on here? Sorry.
Yeah,
and I'm darn good at it.
You're good.
Darn good at it. But visibility is not my strength. So I want to start putting myself out there with content that showcases that I know my stuff and that I can help people.
Awesome. Leading into the next thing, then let's talk about that content, right? What content and opportunities do you already have so that I can help you create that perfect strategy to bring in that top of funnel visibility? Do you have blogcasts, listen to me, podcast, blogs, live video, social media, landing pages, email capture forms? Like, what is it that you have? And we'll break it into two parts. One that is primary, one important to you. So growing your email list, getting sales, and then two, kind of your supportive type content that you have that you need more visibility on to get people into your world.
Yep. So I am pivoting right now in my business. And I used to do a lot of ClickUp build outs and consultancy. And now I'm bringing ClickUp into my zone of genius, which is that strategic planning and that operations management. So I'm kind of starting fresh. Yeah. And I have a brand new website that has some super cool content on it. And I've just redone my brand dossier to really get clear on my messaging and things like that. But in terms of content that I can repurpose, I'm not 100% sure because I am in that pivot stage right now. But I would say that my goals are sales and to grow my email list.
Okay. So let's talk about repurposing in that pivot, because just for a quick second, I want to stay there. I know that there are going to be listeners that are like, okay, I have two businesses, or maybe I have an old Pinterest account, or maybe I am pivoting and changing, right? So is the audience going to be a similar audience, even though you are changing your offers?
Yes, no, and maybe.
Yeah. Love it.
I mean, yeah, I'd say yes, no, and maybe. I mean, a lot of people that I have gotten before who want the general ClickUp build out are not a values match. So I'd say those people are a no. Okay. But there are other people who could be yeses and maybes.
Okay, perfect. So even the potential possibility of yes or maybe means that you have content out there that can be repurposed that will still resonate with those yeses and maybes, right? And so we can look at that in terms of social posts on Facebook, in terms of videos that you've done, other things that you have, and see if there's a way to just tweak them a little bit to be able to use them for visibility with Pinterest. Does that make sense? Okay. I'm also going to touch on the people that have two businesses. Even if they're two separate audiences, Pinterest is search-based. So if they can search for a solution to the problem that they have or thing that they want to learn, and they can find an offering that you can give them, then you can separate it out under one account. So I always say use yourself as like the main umbrella hub, and then you have different things underneath it. So for me, I'm Laura Reich. I do Pinterest, but I have done for you, done with you, and do it by yourself. And so those would be three separate types of offerings that I have that reach three separate types of people. And you could break them out as separate businesses, but I keep them under one Pinterest account. Okay.
So for example, if I have stacyhoschel.com, which is
Yep.
me. And then with a business partner, I have ClickUp for bookkeepers. It
Yep.
would make more sense to create one Pinterest account under Stacy Hochschild and then separate them out, if that's what I understand.
Yes, 100%. Because
Okay.
you're going to have then more content to be able to use to increase your visibility. You are the person in both of those businesses. And so they're going to want to get to know you. Again, we go back to that like, know, and trust factor, right? And so the more that you have available to be able to put on the platform to bring them back into your world, the better it is for you. The nice
Now,
thing
what
about,
happens? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say the nice thing about Pinterest now is they actually allow you to claim multiple websites on one profile. So if you are the
Okay.
owner of both of these websites, you can have both URLs listed as your claimed site on the platform.
Now, what happens if ClickUp for Bookkeepers is co-owned by me and someone else? And she also has her own individual business, right? So
Yeah.
can we put duplicate content on her profile and mine?
Yeah, 100%. Because if you think about it, when you see a pin and you save that pin, that's technically duplicate content that you saved to your profile for other people to see, right?
Yep.
And so it's just going to be beneficial for both of you. It's going to be different audiences, different ways to see it. There are suggestions that I would have later on down the road that I can help you with later. I don't want to dive too deep into the strategy just yet for that, but both of you can be putting out similar types of content, just changing a little bit how it shows up, whether it's a different keyword that brings them to you versus brings them to her, a different design layout so that it's just tweaked just slightly. But there are different ways to do that so that both you and her can still feature what is going on that one account that you both own.
Cool. Okay, that's great.
Awesome. Okay. So then the wonderful question that I always love to ask Pinterest beginners is, what is your timeline or perceived timeline for seeing results on the platform?
Oh, I mean, I feel like when you start anything, you're like, my perceived timeline was yesterday, right? So
Yeah.
as fast as possible, but it's one of those things where I don't know what is realistic.
Perfect. So as fast as possible is going to be slow for you. So it is search. And so this is a question that I get answers to all across the board. With Pinterest being search, you optimize within time. And so the biggest thing to know is that you have to pay attention to, one, what is working, what is not. Two, the trends that are happening in searches on the platform. And three, how can you optimize consistently to be ahead of the trends? So when it is trending, you are the one that's found in those results. So it does take time for Pinterest to index, which means search and find and show your content for the keywords that you are going to want to be found for. There are ways that we can work to help speed up the process, but you do want to stay consistent with the platform for at least 90 days. I tell people 6 months, because 90 days is when you start to see some movement. 6 months is when you're really going to start to see things taking off. So just so that we set expectations for anybody that's like, okay, I'm done with this X, Y, and Z marketing tactic over here. I'm going to turn to Pinterest and it's going to bring me in $1,000 in 2 weeks. Might not happen, but that doesn't mean that something you don't put out or you do put out tomorrow doesn't still resonate with people 4 months, 4 years, 14 years down the road. So just keep that in mind.
And it sounds like, because Pinterest is search, it's really good for evergreen content, which is good for the introverts like me who are not dancing anywhere on the internet. right?
Nope.
Or are not, like I'm not somebody who wants to take my dogs for a walk and Facebook Live it. I want to take my dogs for a walk and enjoy the mountains. Right.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? I'm
Yep.
not somebody who likes to, I like to separate my personal life from my business life. Right. And so it sounds like Pinterest is one of those things where evergreen content is gold. So if you create a good piece of content, you could repurpose it on others, like places on social media, but Pinterest would index, search it, and it would just, keep doing its thing.
Yeah, I have a blog post that I did almost 3 years ago that is still one of the biggest pin driving traffic to my site day after day. And I update that blog post so that if something changes or what I said in there needs to be altered to stay up with best practices, I will do that. But that pin is still the original pin that I saved 3 years ago that we call legacy content. And so it is very helpful in terms of that. You don't have to get up and start going for a walk on Facebook Live or dancing to the latest TikTok trend.
Exactly.
But you can still bring in that visibility. And that's why I love this. I am a introverted extrovert. So I will have my moments where I need my space. And then I will also have my moments where I'm like, yes, you are just pumping me up, right? TikTok videos are not my thing. I am learning to be better, but I am the type of person as well that if I go for a walk, I want to go for a walk. I want to have my space. Like that is my thinking time. That is my mindset clearing, like that kind of stuff. So this will be great for that for you as well. So let's jump in, right? Have you ever set up a Pinterest profile, business or personal, before in the past?
Yes, I have a personal profile open right now.
Okay, awesome. So if you have not set up, for those of you who are listening, a business profile in the past or a personal profile in the past, all you have to do is go to business.pinterest.com and it will ask you to sign up. You will set up a new account. You want to make sure it's the business side because you will get more analytics with that. And it will ask you for an email and password to sign up. It will send you an email. You click accept, and you can be done for right there if that's where you want to stop. For those of you who have a personal account, like Stacy, who want to switch it to a business account to be able to get that data, but not lose everything that's already been on there because it can be repurposed, then what you're going to do is you're going to convert your personal account into a business account. So I'm going to give you a link and we will go ahead and get you converted here in 1 second. And the other thing that I want to note too is if you created a personal account for business purposes, convert it to a business account. Your pins, your followers, everything will stay the same. If for some reason you stop wanting it to be a business account, you can switch it back to a personal account. So don't be concerned that you are stuck and not able to go through the process of changing what you need to change. So
what if I have my personal account that is nothing but short hair, tattoos, and recipes that I've never cooked?
Great question.
It has nothing to do with business at all.
Question.
Would I still want to convert that?
Yes, you do.
I just want to start from scratch. Okay.
No, great question. So amazing question. If you have a personal account that has no business on it whatsoever at all, and it's just you starting out, getting used to the platform, you can still convert it. That's totally okay, because then you still only have one account. I suggest switching your personal to a business, because then what I personally do is I have tattoos, hairstyles, makeup tutorials, and sewing on mine. But mine, I will go in after I connect it as a business account and show you how to make those boards secret so that you can still see and save to them. But the public pins that you save are your business pins, and that's not going to affect what the business side of things see. So that way,
Perfect.
for me, it is personal preference. You are more than welcome to go and set up a separate account business if you want. But for me, I don't want multiple accounts to log in and out of, to be able to use it as a user and use it as business. So I created mine as a business account and then just created those boards as a secret board. So we'll get into that. So for those of you who need to convert, Stacy, are you logged in right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. If you look at the top right corner, you're going to see a click button with a drop down arrow next to your little picture. And you should see settings if you click on that drop down arrow.
Yes, I do. I also see something, it says my accounts, and right there it says convert to business.
Perfect. That's what you want.
Okay. All right, so I'm on a page that says upgrade to a free business account.
You got it. They make it really, really step-by-step simple, you guys.
And then on this page, it tells me about publishing tools, ads manager, insights, and credits. And then I have a personal column and a business column, but I'm looking at that and that's already set for me. So those things I can't change. It looks like it's just telling me the difference.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to have you share
Perfect.
your screen.
Okay.
And then we can still keep talking so that the listeners can visually see what we're doing. And then you and I can go through it for the video watchers as well.
Perfect. All righty. All right. Can we see that?
Yes, we can. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so here's going to be the first step. With your profile name, you want to make sure that you don't just do Stacy or you don't just do ClickUp for bookkeepers. You want to have your name and something that's going to be searchable in terms of who your business is, what it does, how it helps people. So for example, mine is Laura Reich, and then I hyphen and say social media marketing. A lot of times people don't know Pinterest is not social media. They still couple it with that. So I put social media in there so that when they search that, they will still find me. So something that's going to be help them to be recognizable to you.
Can you go back a second? You said that people put Pinterest in the same category as social media. So should it really be like social media and then there's Pinterest and Google? Is it more like Pinterest is it's not really a Google competitor, is it? But it's a search engine.
It is a visual search engine. It's not a competitor. I would say it's an ally, because you can actually have your pins rank on the first page of Google when they are searching for something on Google. So it is very helpful to utilize it as if you were SEO keyword search optimizing your account, your pins and everything like that, because keywords are going to be your biggest asset when using the platform for Pinterest and Google. Social media is more focused on the social aspect and feeding the feed and being seen at the right moment, at the right time, because they aren't as search heavy as they are for Pinterest and Google.
Okay. I'm getting smarter and smarter every minute of this call. Okay.
I love it. I absolutely love that you have a profile picture on here as well. So if you want to have a different picture with you and your business partner, you're more than welcome to. I prefer that people have their individualized face on here, because people don't feel the deeper connection with a logo or a brand image when it's on the profile image. You will have other places to be able to do that, but I suggest keeping a profile image here. then yes, go ahead and put in one of the websites. It doesn't matter what one you start with, because you can claim either of them.
We'll start with my personal one.
Yep.
Or not my personal one, my own business one for now.
Perfect. And then United States and next. And now you have just converted your account to a business account. When it finishes talking to the internet gurus that be.
Well, while we're waiting, let me ask you this. I mean, technically I am in Mexico, but I like to use the United States because I have found, so for example, on LinkedIn, I used to have Oaxaca, Mexico on my profile, and I was getting a lot of job recommendations or clients in Spanish, right?
Correct.
Which is fine. I do that in my personal life, but Spanish is not my working language. So if you were outside of the United States, would you still want to put in the United States or like your home, quote unquote, your home country for search purposes and things like that?
Good question. For in your unique situation, yes, I would still keep United States. If someone were in, say, Canada, I would suggest they keep it as Canada. If they're in Asia, keep it as Asia, things like that. I think Mexico for me is still close enough, where if your primary language is English, then let's keep it there. So what's probably holding it up is the amount of characters that you have in your profile name. So I'm going to have you shorten that down for me. They do have a character limit in terms of that, which you can go and change your name later. Yep.
Okay,
So
cool.
Then we'll go through this. This is now asking you, what is the focus of your brand? When you click on that drop down, it'll give you a few options. The options that it typically gives you is going to be the main categories that people focus on Pinterest. I'm always other because my business is Pinterest, technology, social media, that kind of thing. And then the next question that you will have is if you do other, you can type in what your brand focus is.
So is this where I would put strategic planning and operations management, or would I put business?
You can try either. Yeah, just general business. This again is a personal preference. If it's not the main category, it's not going to affect what you're doing really. It's just to help with the setup of the profile. And then it will ask you, the next question is, what are your 3 goals? So it's asking, sell more products, generate more leads to your business, drive traffic to your site, create content on Pinterest to grow an audience, grow brand awareness, or not sure yet. So go ahead and grab 3 of those.
What if you're like, all of these sound good to me, I want to do all of this? How do you pick what your top 3 should be?
Great question. So when we originally started, your thing was visibility, right? And so drive traffic to your site is going to be visibility for you. I think when you're looking at the other one where it says brand awareness and content creation, you're going to be doing that to be able to get traffic to your site. So I always default those 2 as the drive traffic to your site. And then of course, to stay in business, we need leads and we need sales. So for me, that's the other 2 that I choose. Just because the other one, create content on Pinterest to grow an audience. Well, that's why we're on here. So if we say drive traffic, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. And then grow brand awareness. Again, that's generating more leads and driving traffic to your site. So that's my deduction there.
That's a great explanation.
Perfect. Awesome. Now it's going to ask you to describe your business. It's saying, I'm not sure, blogger, consumer goods, products or services, contractor or service provider, creator, influencer, retail store, local, online retail, marketplace, published media, or other. For you specifically, yes, I was going to say service provider. If you are someone who has, say, physical products and digital products with services, I would say consumer good, product, or service, because that covers all 3 of them. If you are a content creator, influencer, blogger, that kind of thing, I would choose, instead of just blogger, I would choose the creator, influencer, public figure one for that. The others are pretty self-explanatory in terms of retail stores and things like that as well. Awesome. This next question before they end for you is, would you ever be interested in running ads on Pinterest? I say I'm not sure yet. Even if you are sure, you for sure want to do it. The reason I do this is because this is going to connect you with someone that's going to ask you to start running ads right away. That is very beneficial. You can always go back to that rep because it will be someone at Pinterest to help you. But in the beginning, I always suggest people to set up a strong foundation first before you put the money behind it. Because if you're putting money behind something you're not 100% sure you know works, then in my opinion, you are wasting that money. So I say I'm not sure yet because that doesn't connect you with the individual right now, and it leaves you open-ended to be able to get those messages when you are ready to connect with them at that time.
That's really good advice. And I have a question about this because
Absolutely.
one of my clients last year decided to run Pinterest ads, and it was an in-house Pinterest person helping with those ads. So I think a lot of us are familiar with Facebook ads, and there are Facebook ads strategists that
Yes.
help with that, right? But it seems that Pinterest is different. That if you're going to run ads, do you pay Pinterest? Do you pay an ads person at Pinterest? Is this just part of the service offerings that they have? Are there external people independent of Pinterest that do this for you? How does the ad culture work on this platform?
Great question. So it is going to be similar but different to Facebook. I think Facebook is so large that unfortunately they have a lot of strategists that aren't 100% sure because they are newer. And so with Pinterest, they provide a lot of training for their strategists and a lot of support for their strategists where they are in-house and they will be able to help you if you are just starting out. I prefer that if you want to run it yourself, you do connect with one of them because it will be beneficial. There are things that you could miss on your own. My flip side to that, though, is they are internal with Pinterest. So their focus is always going to be spending more money on the platform, like any other business is going to ask for more money, right? Not faulting them for that. But there are other ways as outside Pinterest strategists that we can coach you or run ads for you to be able to help make your dollar last longer. So it really depends at where you're at in business. I'm not going to tell someone who is just starting out that wants to run ads, but doesn't have a budget to coach or have an ads manager not run ads, because that's not beneficial as a business owner to another business owner. I don't want to take your money if you're not financially stable and able to handle that. But I will say that I have had clients come who say, okay, I need to be coached because I want to handle this myself, but I can't put in the $50 to $100 that they're saying I need to do to optimize the way that they're saying. There are other ways that we have learned over the years as strategists externally to be able to lower that while still increasing the ROI.
Perfect. Okay.
Awesome. There you go. So this is the screen that you are going to see when you are done. And the screen that we're seeing right now is where would you like to start? Measure your ad performance, grow your audience, or showcase your brand. We're not actually going to click on any of these right now. What they are asking you to do is install a plugin to do pixels for your site, start creating ads, or start building your profile. One of the things that I do suggest you do as a beginner is go through the process of installing the pixel on your website just as a page view pixel, because even if you're not going to run ads today, tomorrow, or the next 60, 90 days, whatever, it's still going to be capturing that traffic so that when you are ready, you have an audience that you can play off of in terms of the analytics to be able to know how to target smarter in the future. So with that, Pinterest will always have this available to you to be able to help you walk through how to be able to install a pixel, whether you are on WordPress, Squarespace, Shopify, it doesn't matter. There's tons of ways to be able to go through the step-by-step process that they do give you. And it is very, very simplified down for people to be able to handle doing it effectively.
And so if I'm not doing this now, where do I find it later?
Great question. So what you would do is at the top left, you'll see business, create, analytics, and ads. The ads dropdown is where it's going to be tucked into for you. And you will see conversions about halfway down that list. That will help you set up the pixel to track those conversions, whether it's a page view or whether you start to get fancy with lead conversions, sales conversions, and things like that.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, cool.
So on the top right-hand side, you're going to see your profile image again and that drop-down arrow. I'm going to have you click on the little circle. Yep. And so this is what your profile is going to look like. As of right now, it's going to be very basic. There's going to be a lot of holes that you're going to need to fill. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to stop here for those who are getting started. And then you guys can come back and listen to part 2 of optimizing your profile and getting started. For those of you who are excited for next steps, I will give you some homework. If you converted your profile from a personal to a business and you had things like Stacy that you don't want seen anymore, but you want to keep it so that you can still continue to use it, you'll hover over those boards, Stacy. So like hover over tattoos and you'll see at the bottom right, the little pencil pops up. When you click on that, that gives you the ability to set the privacy settings of the board. And so this is where you can start to make those boards secret that you want to keep for your personal side of things. When you do that, you'll see a little lock that comes up on the board. That means it's still visible for you. You can still save to it. You can still refer to it, but it is not visible on your public profile for your business.
Perfect. That's great. I'm all about this, not logging in and out of different accounts to have personal and business. So this is great.
Awesome. Perfect. So before we go, Stacy had asked me one quick question, and I think it's something that needs to be tackled on this podcast before we dive deeper into optimizing strategy, things like that, is how do I know that my ideal audience is on Pinterest? And I think that's a big one for people because like Stacy said when we were talking before the recording is I know how to do market research. I know how to survey people. I know how to go through that process, but how do I know surefire without a doubt that I should be on Pinterest? I have perfected a way where I tell people without my opinions involved or my emotions involved, if you should be on the platform. Because of course, I love Pinterest. It is my platform to go to for everybody. And I feel like everybody should be on it and using it 24/7. But to be able to show you the power of if you can be found on there, what we're going to do here is at the top right-hand side, there's going to be a magnifying glass. And that will be the same for anybody that is on a desktop or that is on a mobile device. You will see on a mobile device, the magnifying glass will be down at the bottom instead of at the top right. And you're going to click on that. And then you're going to start typing in searches for things that you feel or know your target audience has a problem with, wants to learn, or searches for to find you. And when you do that, take note of what pulls up for pins and content underneath that search. If the content underneath that search is content that you speak to, is services that you provide, is help that you offer, content that you already have on other platforms, then 100% without a doubt, you are missing the opportunity to be found when they search those terms. The caveat to this, though, is you may not know all of those search terms right away. So pay attention to what you're searching. And the first piece of this we call ABC search. So Stacy, if you want to type something in there and just start typing any keyword that you want to type in, what will happen for those viewing and for those just listening, I will explain. She is going to type in a key phrase, and as she does so, there is going to be what we call ABC search that pulls up underneath. And so what I'm going to have you do is, you see on the right hand side it says your pins. Can you click on that and change to all pins for me? There you go. Click on all pins.
Yep.
And then go back into that. And so now when you search, she typed in how to create a business plan. Underneath there, we have how to create a small business plan, how to create a business plan entrepreneur, how to create a business plan tips, how to create a real estate business plan, how to create a blog business plan. All of these are the top ABC searches for what you started to put in. So you could click enter or any one of these. If you click enter, it will stick with your phrase that you typed in. If you click on any of the other ones, it will switch it automatically and have pulled up searches based on what you clicked on. So she clicked on how to create a small business plan. So with that one change, she already now is looking at a different phrase for what people are searching. And so if there is content around here under this search for things that you have done, you can help with, or you offer, then you should be using this key phrase and being found on Pinterest for this. Now, I will say that this is going to take a little bit to start seeing what should happen, because you might not know the key phrases that are being searched to find you. For example, earlier in this recording, we talked about how I still have social media on my Pinterest bio because people still couple Pinterest with social media marketing. And so I might not be able to type in Pinterest marketing and find the right searches that people are doing. I might have to type in something around social media to see if I can be found in that. So just keep that in mind. Don't just rely on one search that you guys do here, but take a good 15 minutes to a half hour and just start typing in different words to see what Pinterest gives you. And this is my unbiased opinion as to if you should be using the platform to be found for what people are searching for.
This is brilliant. Can I add two things to this that I was thinking about?
100%.
One of them is that I am a certified director of operations, and a certified director of operations does strategy, leadership, and management. If you're looking at that like top tier of the business. However, a lot of people find me by searching online business manager. And an online business manager is somebody who does management and implementation. But we also all work in a world where you can call yourself a digital unicorn. So it kind of seems like it's not so much about the latest certification that you've got or what you know yourself to be, but what other people may be looking for you. And it's like focusing on the results you can give them, not the title that you want to be called or that you call yourself.
Yes, 100%.
And the other thing I was going to say, because I'm rebranding and I'm also working on CEO for my website, one of the things that I've done is looked at Google Analytics to see what people are typing in Google to find my site. So it seems that I could use that exact same thing here. right?
Yes, you said
Okay.
coming into this, Stacy, that you knew nothing, and I am calling you out right now on that, because that right there is golden. That is
Yeah.
exactly what you should be doing. And this is why I created this way to tell people, like, they come to me and say, but you're going to tell me you need to be on the platform. And I'm going to say, no, there is data that I can show you that you need to be on the platform. So yes, go
Yeah.
through the searches, try different searches, look at your Google Analytics, and then really decide, okay, is this going to be worth my time? 90% of the time, maybe even if you ask me 99.999% of the time, I'm going to say a resounding yes.
Mhm. Yeah. And this is cool because some of the things I'm seeing are things that I know exist
Yeah.
on Google. And, you know, I know that these are some of the terms that people use to search for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool. This is cool. Great.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for starting this part 1 of how to get started on Pinterest for beginners. I'm super excited how far we've gotten so far, and the just shift for you and how to be able to feel comfortable knowing if they are on there, how to be able to keep your one login going, and just kind of start that switch into business mode versus personal mode. So for all of you who are with us, stay tuned for part 2. We will link it in the show notes below so that you can watch and listen right away. Thank you so much, Stacy.
Thank you, Laura. I learned a lot. This was fun. Appreciate it.
Of course.